Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you Sunday, December the 12th. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. Time for the weekly open and gap. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weekly chart here. We can see that we still have a few pairs that have gapped and they haven't filled, and the pound is one of them. It gapped down 29 pips, and the pound Canadian gapped down 23. So we'll just have to wait and see if they fill. It looks like we already hit the weekly pivot. And just a reminder about money management. Take your profit before the market takes it back. So looking at the opening ranges, you can see we're below the opening range for the year. We're still below the opening range for the month, and we are establishing the opening range for the week. $393 pips below the yearly open, 47 below the monthly open. And right now the weekly and daily candles are 9 pips to the green. We had an inside bar 2 days ago, and it looks like we've got some inside bar action here on the dailies, some on the weeklies, and a few on the monthlies. So those of you who like to take the inside bar trades, it looks like you have some pairs to pick from. We are 5.5 hours into the trading day on my broker here, server time, and we're only 21 pips of range on the pound. So this is usually not the best time to take trades. It's a good time to start to analyze trades. And for those of you who like to do this, you can see it kind of broke out to the upside there. So we'll have to see what happens. Looking at the buy zone, you can see there was a huge gap down. So taking that trade in the direction of the gap has paid off once. Not enough room for the rat zone. On the pivots, like we took out the daily pivot. And it looks like the weekly pivot is down here. We'll look at the next chart to get a better look. So took out the daily. And it looks like we just about are ready to take out the weekly at 32.39. We're just not quite there yet. Actually, says here, we got down to 396, but it's 393, so looks like we're a little bit of ways from it. And the monthly, we still haven't gotten there yet either. On the wick zones, we haven't hit a wick zone yet. We're still in the body of the previous day's candle, Friday's candle. Looking at the ranges, we had a compressed weekly range last week, so we'll have to wait and see if we make that up this week or not. Should be interesting. And looking at the price action, chart with the wall mall lines highlighted. You can see once again, during this time, there's really not much to trade. It's more time to analyze if you haven't already done your homework for next week. And you can see here on the hourly ranges, it's nothing to write home about, that's for sure. Usually, if you want to trade during this session, you have to pick a yen pair or Australian pair or New Zealand pair. Usually, they have some movement. I think we look at the chart here. Well, actually, not much on the Aussie pairs, the New Zealand pairs, really not much there either. Euro New Zealand 47, pound New Zealand 68. So you can see the difference here. Swiss yen 47, dollar yen 31. So you can see those pairs are a little more active. So if you're stuck trading this time, pick a yen pair, Australian pair, or a New Zealand pair. And the lowest high, highest low once again. You can see there are pips to be made, but at this time of day, this is not something that I would probably want to trade, even though we do have about a 10 pip separation here. Usually anything less than 7 is iffy because you want to have some movement. You have to allow for spread and or commission, especially if you're only looking to grab a pip or two. Somehow this chart seems to be frozen for some reason. It took it a while. Let me think. Somebody was asking something about this indicator, but I don't remember exactly what. It's the TRO plot. Right here. Oh, I know. Actually, somebody was asking about TRO HL5. They said they just wanted the previous high and low. So what you would want to do is set my bars to 1, my shift to 1. So that means you're going to look at one bar starting 1 bar ago. And of course, you'd have to turn it on. And I think this person wanted H1. So my period. And so there you have the high and low from 1 hour ago. Actually, that's the open. For some strange reason, it says show low true, show open true. I'm not sure. Well, maybe it's unless it's TRO plot is interfering with it. Otherwise, I might just have to figure something out there. That's interesting. Let's see. I'll have to take a quick look here. Actually, let me do this. Let me hit reset. just to make sure I didn't have something else turned on. There we go. Something else might have been turned on, and that's why the low wasn't showing. So I just hit the reset. And so that's how you can use TRO plot to show the previous high and low, the H1 candle. And you can, it doesn't matter which time frame you have it on, it'll still show the high and low for the H1. So if you shift the 5-minute time frame, you can see the high and low from the last period. Somebody else was wondering about the statistical indicators. Those are donation indicators. Those are the ones if somebody makes a donation of 50 or more. I send those out as a thank you. And you get one donation gets indicators for the entire year. And each year requires a separate donation. So once again, we were talking about keeping things simple. That was the theme for this month. And just sticking with the horizontal lines, trading with the direction when price crosses it. And now somebody could say, well, you could just pick any horizontal line, any number, and put a horizontal line there. And you're exactly right. But what you do is you have a rule. So as I mentioned earlier in the month, that I'm starting to use the M30 candles, especially on the pound dollar, to pick a direction. So if you look at the previous hour here, this M30 broke to the bottom, then turned around and came back. So I'm just trading with the M30 candle color. Because what happens, you get the first part of the hour, it goes one way, then you get the second part, it goes another way. So as you can see here, the first part of the hour went up, and it's like, well, wait a minute, this M30 is a bear candle, and you can see it came right through the body, right through the low. So by trading with that candle color, since it never went green or never went up, if I was long from the open, I would just exit out, and then possibly when it crossed the H1 open, so then H1 would have turned from bull to bear, you can just jump on the bandwagon. But of course, it doesn't work every time. No, it doesn't work every time. And that's why we have a stop loss. So as you can see here, price just hit that low on this M30 candle, the previous H1 low. So it's either going to continue down or it'll reverse and go the other way. But trading is basically, in a way, it's a guessing game, which it's like you pick a direction and you're guessing that the market's going to continue in the direction that you picked. And one of the things about trading, though, is a lot of times people will pick lines to enter, exit a trade, where it might be better if you pick a zone. So like the wick zones. That's one of the reasons why I like to use the wick zones, because if you enter in the wick zone, you know it's going to leave one direction or the other. You just have to pick the direction, and you just trade with price at the line breaking out of the wick zone. So it's not that difficult. Well, fellow traders, that wraps it up for the weekly open and gap. Hope you had a fun and safe weekend. I wish you a profitable week. And always remember and never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.